matchup between the Iowa Hawkeyes and your Penn State Nittany Lions. Before we meet tonight's starting lineups, we ask you to please rise and remove your hats as we honor America with the singing of our national anthem, performed tonight by the Huntington Area Middle School Choir. Our colors are presented by Seven Mountains EMS, and we ask that you please remain standing until the colors have left the floor. Ladies and gentlemen, and now it's time to get our starting lineups. First for the visitors from Iowa. They guard the 6'2" senior number 5, Anthony Clemens. They guard the 6'2" senior number 10, Mike Gazelle. At guard, a 6'6" junior number 14, Peter Jock. At forward, 6'9" senior number 20, Jared Utah. And at center, 7'1" senior number 34, Adam Woodbury. The Hawkeyes assistant coaches are Sean Bullard, Andrew Francis, and Kurt Sparrow. And now it's time for the next Penn State starting lineup, presented by PNC. At guard for Penn State, a 6'4" freshman from Fairfax, Virginia, number 23, Josh Reeves. At forward for Penn State, a 6'6" redshirt sophomore from Orange, California, 0, Peyton Banks.
The lights are at their brightest tonight at the Bryce Jordan Center in State College. It's a hot ticket to see Big Ten leader Iowa and see if the Nittany Lions can knock them from their lofty perch. Super Wednesday on BTN is presented by Buffalo Wild Wings, and tonight the Iowa Hawkeyes, 4th in the nation, are here to take on the Penn State Nittany Lions. And for Iowa, all things looking good in mid-February, atop the Big Ten standings with a one-game lead over Maryland and Indiana. Of course, you'll see Indiana later on BTN. Good evening, everybody. As we kick off Super Wednesday, I'm Kevin Kugler alongside Sean Morris, and Iowa in the driver's seat in mid-February on this Super Wednesday.
Kevin, the Hawkeyes control their own destiny, and they want to make sure that that maintains going forward here. They want to make sure that they don't get caught looking ahead to the surging Wisconsin Badgers, especially considering the fact Indiana came in here in the last home game for Penn State and ended up losing the game.
Wisconsin, the next game on the schedule for Iowa. They'll deal with Penn State tonight in our Buffalo Wild Wings starting lineups. You'll see Peter Jock and Jared Utoff, the third highest scoring duo in the last 40 years at Iowa.
And Mike Gazelle does a great job of setting them up. 12 assists, no turnovers last time out for the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Jared Utoff, preseason All-Big Ten, certainly going to be postseason All-Big Ten. He's having a special season.
Coming off a tremendous performance, 24 points, 15 rebounds, and 6 blocks in Iowa's last game on Sunday versus Minnesota.
And Iowa in a lofty position. In fact, it's been a decade since Iowa was in a similar spot. Last time they were in first place in the Big Ten this deep in the season, February of 2006. Now, that year they were a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament. And we'll just stop the story right there for all the Hawk fans that don't want to think about Northwestern State. But they were a 3 seed, Sean. Adam Woodbury and Jordan Dickerson ready to go as we get Super Wednesday underway on BTN, and Iowa starts it off. And here's Mike Gazelle, topped the 1,000-point mark a week ago. Here's Peter Jock. Got a little confused in the air whether to pass or whether to shoot, and he turns it over.
Yeah, he got up, looked like he was going to shoot the ball, but a good contest by Penn State leads to the turnover.
Here's Brandon Taylor, the skip pass to Peyton Banks. See Josh Reeves with the ball in his hands, getting the start tonight. No Devin Foster tonight for Penn State. His girlfriend had a baby yesterday. He is not here.
And Julian Moore also not in the starting lineup. Penn State going a little bit smaller.
And there's Reeves immediately with the offensive putback attempt. Nice attempt to save by Jordan Dickerson, but Utah tracks it down.
Now, you can't lose Peter Jock in this transition if you're Penn State. Good job of locating him on the left wing.
Tough matchup for Reeves dealing with Utah on this trip down the floor. Here's Anthony Clemens.
Mismatch, he's got to take Dickerson to the rim.
Gazelle, he'll back it out. 12 on the shot clock. Clemens again, same mismatch with Dickerson. There he goes, right by him to the well, and he gets the 2.
Good job of being patient there, waiting for the traffic to clear. And Clemens knew with that mismatch with Dickerson out there, he was far out of his comfort zone defensively and able to take advantage.
We'll keep an eye tonight on Shep Garner. See if he can break out of a shooting slump. 0 for 16 from 3 his last 3 games.
And last time these two teams met, Penn State went 1 for 20 from 3-point range.
Peter Jock will launch the 3, rims out, and Peyton Banks the rebound. We were talking with Pat Chambers earlier today, the head coach of Penn State. He says, we can't turn it over, and we've got to hit shots. That's not a bad game plan any night, but those have been 2 areas that have plagued the Nittany Lions of late.
Last time out versus Nebraska, they turned it over 17 times on the road. You contrast that with their last win here at home versus Indiana. Only 7 turnovers versus the Hoosiers, and they knocked down 8 threes.
0 for 4 to start is not what Coach Chambers had in mind. Tough catch for Utah as the double comes, and it's out of bounds. It'll stay with Iowa. Head coach of the Iowa Hawkeyes, Fran McCaffrey, 20th year as a collegiate head coach, 6th year at Iowa. And boy, what a job he's done with the Hawkeyes this year. Has them in the top 5 in the nation and in the driver's seat in the Big Ten. Good ball movement and a great find of Adam Woodbury.
And it was compounded by a breakdown and defensive communication by Penn State. They didn't roll to the rim when Woodbury slipped the screen.
4-0 start for Iowa on the road. These two teams played a week and a half ago. Iowa won 73-49 at Carver Hawkeye. The handoff to Garner. Kicks it back out. Banks open 3. Not going to go, and a foul on Taylor, and Brandon Taylor with his first personal foul. Patrick Chambers, the 5th-year head coach of Penn State, trying to pull another upset. They knocked off 22nd ranked at the time Indiana on February 6th of this year.
Shot the ball well. As I mentioned, 7 turnovers for the Nittany Lions. They forced 15 for the visitors from Indiana.
Woodbury against Dickerson. Woodbury's been on a great roll rebounding the basketball, trying to add some scoring to that mix. Misses that elbow jumper, and Garner will bring it up the floor. Garner using his speed, but lost the handle on it and out of bounds to the Iowa Hawkeyes. Well, our marquee matchup, Jared Utoff and Brandon Taylor both have to have a good night for these teams to be successful.
And last time out, these two teams met. Brandon Taylor, one of the few bright spots for the Nittany Lions with a double-double in Iowa City.
He's led the Nittany Lions in scoring the last 8 games as Utoff's fadeaway won't go, and a whistle and a travel on the rebound as Banks grabbed it and slipped on the court. Julian Moore and Isaiah Washington in as Patrick Chambers goes to the bench. Already 3 turnovers for Penn State, and they're 0 for 5 from the floor.
And 2 of those unforced.
Utoff, deep position and the easy 2.
Yeah, you can't allow him to set up shot that deep because of his offensive versatility. He can score going over either shoulder. You have to beat him to a spot, Kevin.
Washington trying to get past Clemens. Anthony Clemens has been really good on the road in conference play, especially offensively this year.
As has this entire Iowa team. Their experience really paying dividends, starting 4 seniors and a junior.
And Clemens comes over to commit the foul. Julian Moore was going to flush that one, and Clemens with his first.
And Penn State returning the favor that Iowa put on them a couple possessions ago. They bring the big up for a high ball screen and roll them. Defensive breakdown this time by Iowa is going to allow Moore to shoot a couple.
74% at the line this year is Julian Moore. Penn State 0 for 5 from the floor. 3 turnovers. And looking very similar to the second half that they had against Nebraska last weekend, where things really went awry. Misses badly on both free throws, and Iowa going the other way.
Now look for them to get Utoff down on the block with the smaller defender Banks on him.
Nice catch by Utoff. Trying to go to work against Banks. Look at him, back him down. Dish underneath to Woodbury, and there's a foul. Woodbury will go to the line after the foul and a timeout here in State College.
Well, not a lot of offensive flow thus far, but early on here, Adam Woodbury making his presence known. This is how you shoot 57% from the floor. Slide and deliver. He'll shoot 2 when we come back to State College.
He's ready. Fans, are you ready? Keep an eye on the ball. He'll Matthew out. Here we go. He followed along, Brown. Which one is Matthew? 1, 2, or 3? Crowd, help him out. 2. Matthew says 2. What do you think? Oh, yeah. It's 2. Congratulations, Matthew. You won a $20 gift card to the Family Clothesline. Thanks for playing the Family Clothesline Basketball Shuffle. Located at 332 East College Avenue and PennStateClothes.com. The Family Clothesline is your source for all of your Penn State needs. Nittany Lion fans, Delta Airlines, proud airline partner of Penn State Athletics, is also the official airline of Vaughn. Delta is a proud supporter of the world's largest student-run philanthropic organization. Is counting down the days, hours, and minutes to Vaughn 2016. As you can see, we have just under 2 days left until we stand 46 for the kids.
Super Wednesday basketball on BTN is presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports. And brought to you in part by State Farm. We exist to assist. With Sean Morris, Kevin Kugler back in State College. A good start for Iowa on the road. A 6-0 lead as the Clouds roll by in State College. Our BTN winning shot contest. Log on btn.com/BTN winning shot. Take a photo on Instagram and use that hashtag for your chance to have your photo featured in a Big Ten basketball game. For contest details, visit btn.com/BTN winning shot. One more free throw for Adam Woodbury.
And Woodbury, an outstanding foul shooter, regardless of his size, 74% from the charity stripe in his senior season.
And what an improvement for a guy who last year was 57.6% from the line. Obviously put a lot of work into the offseason.
And not only does it help your team, but it also helps your stat line. If you can go from the mid-50s into the 70s, that's worth at least 1, sometimes 2 points per ball game to your own scoring average.
And you can stay on the floor in crunch time. You're not afraid to have the guy out there. Shep Garner with a skip to Banks.
Nice job right there by Ewell of moving his feet.
Dom Ewell off the bench. Entry to Donovan Jack down low, and there's the first 2 for Penn State.
And a good job by Donovan Jack of putting his shoulder right into the chest of Woodbury.
Here's Woodbury trailing. Gazelle gets past Washington, and that shot rejected by Taylor.
Nice anticipation by Brandon Taylor. He saw that his teammate was beaten and then waited until the last minute to come over before Gazelle was able to locate him with his peripheral vision.
Taylor with the fade, hits the side of the backboard. Gazelle on the push. The bounce, good catch by Utah underneath. In trouble, and he still gets the bucket to fall.
Tough catch. The baseline essentially serving as an extra defender. You maintain your composure, then with that length, able to step away from the defender and hit a fadeaway. Tough conversion.
4 points for Utah. Here's Garner. In the corner, Banks, the contested 3. Woodbury, good seal to get the rebound on Jack. Utah, step-in jumper. Donovan Jack, and a foul on Woodbury.
And Kevin, Mike Gazelle sometimes gets overlooked because he's so efficient, not flashy. Here's a great example. Threads it. That is a pass and completion between 2 guys who have played together for 3 years. Very nice pass by Gazelle, and even better conversion by Jared Uthoff as we take a look at where Mike Gazelle stands among some of the best point guards in Iowa history.
Yeah, B.J. Armstrong looking in the rearview mirror right now. Mike Gazelle going to pass him before the end of the season. Reeves, the lob down low to Dickerson, who stayed with it and gets 2 more.
Both of the baskets for Penn State have come at the rim. Let's see if the Nittany Lions continue to go to that well.
Here's Jock, quiet so far. Peter Jock, nice up and under move, gets to the rim and gets his first 2.
That's a move last year. There's no way Peter Jock's able to convert, let alone attempt.
Quick jumper up and good. There's a 3 for Shep Garner, his first in 4 games. Good sign for Penn State. Jock trying to answer. Can't get the roll. Taylor the board.
I think right now you might want to get the ball and go through Brandon Taylor with the freshman. Now he's got a mismatch there.
Garner starting to feel it, and he's hit back-to-back 3s, and Penn State's within 2.
Well, they hit 8 threes in their upset win over Indiana. 2 thus far, both from Garner here.
Lamont Wagner off the bench for Iowa with the ball in his hands. Clemens with Washington on him. 9 on the shot clock. Wagner, the skip to Jock. Ball fake, got Garner in the air. The dump down to Wagner. 1 to shoot. They're not going to get the shot off. Penn State with a couple of 3s and a good defensive stop.
And a good defensive sequence by Penn State. But you also don't want to put Wagner in the situation offensively. But if you're Penn State, you do want to put Shep Garner in that offensive sequence, as he's knocked down 2 threes, if you're Jock, you have to understand time and score, Kevin. You don't want to give the ball to the freshman where he has to try to make a play. He's not advanced enough in his game to do that just yet.
Hawkeyes' 8-point lead nearly gone over the span of 3 minutes. Here's Washington, and he traveled with it. 4th Penn State turnover.
And of those 4 turnovers, 3 have been unforced.
Well, that'll frustrate Coach Chambers, because not only to us, but to his team, all shoot around and throughout these last few days of practice, can't turn it over, can't turn it over. Been stressing that nonstop. Especially when your margin for error is pretty slim. You're at the bottom in terms of field goal percentage as well as 3-point shooting percentage. Jock found Clemens all alone underneath for 2. Stops the 6-0 Penn State run. Now this is an interesting time for Penn State offensively. You look out on the floor, there's no Brandon Taylor, and Shep Garner's on the bench. So you have to wonder where the points are going to come from. Donovan Jack will provide a pair. Well, he answers that question emphatically. Did a nice job earlier in this weekend of putting his shoulder into the chest of Woodbury. They go back inside. A big basket for the Nittany Lions when they needed one. Their 2 leading scorers on the bench. And Donovan Jack, as a senior, says, I'll deliver here. Super Wednesday kicking off here in State College, Iowa, with a 14-12 lead, 11:56 remaining in the first half. And the inside-outside game getting it going thanks to Shep Garner. With Shep Garner 2 of 2 from deep. When it looked like Iowa may be able to extend their lead, but Shep Garner knocking down a couple of triples in an area that the last time these two teams met was certainly not friendly to the Nittany Lions, as they went 1 of 20 from behind the arc in Iowa City. Along with Garner's threes, it's been the inside presence of the Nittany Lions. Right now, Donovan Jack has a chance to convert a 3-point play. He has 2 early baskets inside. Dickerson with another. So 6 points in the paint for Penn State. That's the good news. The bad news, they've given it back off of turnovers. 4 Penn State miscues have led to 6 points off those turnovers for Iowa. Davis Zimgulis off the bench for the first time today for Penn State. Dom Ewell, Ahmad Wagner still on the floor for Iowa. Nicholas Baer off the bench for the first time as Garner returns and Zimgulis leaves. That was a brief appearance for Davis Zimgulis. That's a cameo. That is a cameo. It is award season. Do you get something for that? For the best cameo in a college basketball game. Clemens on the road this year in conference play, averaging over 12 points per game, 5 points better than his performances at home. Here's Jock over Jack, and he rains down the deep two.
Nice job by Peter Jock of utilizing the screen, Kevin, coming off shoulder to shoulder. That allowed just enough space because Jack a pretty good job of coming out there contesting, but it was the use of the screen by Jock which made that possible.
Penn State 4 for their last 4 from the floor. Washington, the 3. And the rebound to Ahmad Wagner.
Not necessarily Washington's strength. 9% from 3 on the year.
That's Jock's strength, though. A 3 in the corner, and just like that, Iowa's extended to a 6-point lead again. Doesn't take long for these Hawkeyes.
Jock shooting 42% from deep on the season. His teammate, Jared Utah, also a conversion rate of 42% from 3-point range.
Peyton Banks, deep 2 to try to answer. Long rebound, scooped up by Washington.
Yeah, Washington just took the extra step where Dom Ewell pulled a Costanza and pulled up short.
Penn State out rebounding Iowa by a pair so far as Garner turns it over once more, and that turnover 5 now for Penn State as Peter Jock on the other end shows his range.
Yeah, and watch the use of the screen. He comes off shoulder to shoulder. That doesn't allow Shep Garner to get through to contest, and Donovan Jack just a shade late, and you have to find Peter Jock in transition. Now, he can score off the dribble, but if you have to pick your poison, if you're Penn State, you want to make him put the ball on the floor and not allow him to catch the ball in rhythm and shoot.
11th in the conference in 3-point percentage. Bear looking for him again. Launching again is Jock. That one off, and the rebound out of bounds stays with Iowa. Banks couldn't corral it. Tonight's Motel 6 sixth man in this game. Trust me, he's coming.
Yeah. He just caught the ball.
He just caught the ball. It's Dom Ewell, our Motel 6 sixth man. Clemens. Looking inside for Ahmad Wagner. And there's a foul away from the ball. As promised, our Motel 6 sixth man, Dom Ewell. 7 points, 4 rebounds, almost 50% from 3, and in fact in conference play shooting 54% from 3-point range.
And he and Nicholas Bear have given Iowa a lift off the bench in terms of scoring and energy throughout the course of this season.
Moore with a foul a moment ago, his first. Penn State's 3rd as Bear hits the jumper. Nicholas Bear has cooled off a little bit once conference play began. Of course, had such a hot non-conference start for Iowa.
And so much of what he gives Iowa, Kevin, goes beyond the proverbial tangibles. A lot of hustle plays, keeping plays alive, very active on the defensive end of the floor. He has been a wonderful addition as an underclassman to this senior and junior-laden team.
Double team on Taylor. He gets rid of it. Here's Garner driving it up with the left-handed. Shep Garner looking like a guy who's playing with a purpose. He's got 8 points early.
And he was able to get to the rim because Iowa had to honor the 3-point shot. They don't close out under control. That allowed Garner to turn the corner.
Jock bumped by Banks.
Nice job by Banks in moving his feet.
Here's Bear. Little crossover. Bear splits, gets to the rim, and he draws the foul. Nicholas Bear aggressive as he goes to the line. Speaking of aggressive, Shep Garner a moment ago, pretty aggressive drive.
Well, we've showed his 2 3-point shots, and you saw right there, Peter Jock was trying to jump that right hand, assuming he was going to go into a 3-point shot. Good recognition by Garner. Turns the corner with the offhand and completes.
Nicholas Bear, just the 12th free throw attempt of the year. He's 8 for 12 now at the line is Nicholas Bear. Woodbury back, Gazelle back, Utah back on the floor as well. A little bit strong on the second and the rebound, Dickerson.
And right now Iowa in the midst of an 8-3 mini run behind the 3-point shots of Peter Jock.
Josh Reeves. Banks with 14 to shoot. Here's Garner. He's had the hot hand with 8 to lead Penn State. 8 to shoot. Banks lost it. There's a turnover.
And that's a live ball turnover.
Gazelle driving it up. The lay-in will not roll home. Look at Bear fighting for it in there for Iowa.
There's the hustle play we talked about. The intangible getting an extra possession, then the ball fake by Clemens.
Oh, and a rejection by Garner, who got in there to get a piece of it.
And now they have numbers with Clemens down on the other end if they're able to take advantage.
Clemens got back up now, and everything's square at 5 apiece.
I wonder now if they're going to try to get a shot for Brandon Taylor.
Here's Reeves to kick into the corner. Garner, wide open three, his third of the night.
And Josh Reeves, nice job of utilizing dribble penetration, but you saw him asked to come out. Let's not forget, he battled mono throughout the course of the early part of this season. He's gassed right now. If you're Iowa, you want to go right at Reeves.
Came back February 6th against Indiana after missing a good chunk of January. Woodbury, the handoff to Gazelle. Iowa's lead is 4.
If they get it to Clemens, he can take him off the dribble.
Bear with the 3. Nicholas Bear in his last 12 games, Sean, no double figures. He's averaged 3.3 points per game. He's got 6 in about 3 minutes tonight.
And kept an extra possession alive because he didn't assume the make in the transition. Iowa not able to convert.
Shep Garner feeling it right now. That's 4 from downtown. Utah couldn't believe how alone he was, and he traveled with it, and Dickerson went down hard.
Oh, yeah, he landed hard on that back and elbow.
Timeout on the floor in State College.
McDonald's, a proud partner of Penn State basketball. Penn State athletics would like to thank the Penn State Bookstore for their support of the Nittany Lions in today's game. The Penn State Bookstore, where every purchase benefits Penn State students, faculty, and staff.
Scary moment here in State College a moment ago with Iowa leading by 4. Iowa turns it over, and on the play, a big fall for Jordan Dickerson.
Yeah, and that's just one. I think he might have even hit his funny bone and kind of grabbed for his elbow right away. But anytime you see someone, especially this season with the tumble that Siobhan Shields took for Nebraska, you get concerned. And if you're Iowa right now, you're concerned about the play of number 33 for Penn State, Shep Garner. 4 of 4 from deep, 5 of 6 overall on his way to 14 first half points. 14 of the 21 put up thus far by the Nittany Lions. And right there, that triple in and of itself equals the output from behind the arc the last time these two teams met. They've quadrupled that now with 4 of 8 from behind the arc here in the first 13 minutes.
Iowa working a little pressure on the inbound. Here's Garner, who had just 6 points in Lincoln in the loss to the Huskers on Saturday. Was 3 of 14 from the floor. Tonight, 5 of 6 and 4 for 4 from three-point land.
And Iowa now going with a little bit of a zone defense. This is where, if you're Iowa, you have to locate Garner. That's exactly why they went to that defense, and a good job by Clemens at coming out to contest.
Boy, excellent job by Dickerson, who got back out there right after that fall and comes up with the offensive rebound. Penn State's not afraid to play a deliberate style here.
And this is where number 10 Taylor, if he so chooses, can flash between the two lines of defense, much like you saw Donovan Jack do there.
Scoreless so far as Brandon Taylor looking to get on the board against Bear. The pull-up is good, and Penn State's within 2 again.
That's a strong play because he wasn't able to really get into his shot cleanly. Nice job of creating space.
Utah now likes the matchup against Washington. The double comes from Dickerson. Here's Gazelle, open for 3. And the rebound, Donovan Jack. And now Penn State can tie with a 2 or take their first lead with a 3.
And a nice sequence thus far by Dickerson on the offensive end with the offensive rebound. That allowed Taylor to score at the tail end of that. And then a good job of helping off on Utah defensively.
Washington for the lead. A little bit strong, and Clemens the rebound. Now the push, 2-on-2. Now 3-on-3. Utah off the trailer, 4-3. Dickerson, the board for Penn State.
Boy, a good execution by Iowa on that secondary break. And you saw right there, guys that had played together. Gazelle knew exactly where Utah was going to be.
Fran McCaffrey will take that break all the time. 2-point ball game. Here's Taylor. The skip to Washington for 3. And Penn State has taken the lead. Clemens, the attack. Taylor, the rejection. Now Taylor trying to add to the 1-point advantage. Double team comes with Gazelle, finds Jack at the elbow.
Beautiful job by Donovan Jack of understanding that his teammate was in trouble and making himself available.
Utah, the step through, the ball, and a foul.
Shep Garner allowed Penn State to hang around, but it's been the play recently of Brandon Taylor. Excellent cross-court pass to Isaiah Washington, who knocks down a rare 3. And then in the ensuing possession, he got caught along the baseline, didn't panic, and Donovan Jack, a wonderful cut to make himself available.
Well, you say rare for Isaiah Washington. That's his 7th made 3 in 40 attempts this year.
I may eat vegetables more often than he hits a 3.
I don't know if we can go that far.
That's rare, my friend.
It is rare. Tomorrow on BTN, the Gophers welcome 6th-ranked Maryland to the barn. Coverage starts at 8 Eastern tomorrow, presented by Quicken Loans on BTN and BTN to go. One more for Utah, an 83% foul shooter, hits them both, and the Hawkeyes back within 1.
And Iowa right now trying to give Penn State a little bit of a different look on the made free throw, extending their defense. Turnovers have plagued Penn State thus far, a lot of them of the unforced variety. And right now, Iowa trying to force some. 6
turnovers for Penn State, 8 points off those turnovers in this first half for Iowa. It's almost a third of their points have come off Penn State turnovers.
And this area right there is going to be open if Penn State chooses to exploit it.
Donovan Jack, the skip out to Banks for 3. And Peyton Banks with a 3. Penn State has hit 6 from downtown.
And we'll say it again, Kevin. That comes off of a performance the last time in Iowa City these two teams met. 1 of 20 from behind the arc.
Gazelle trying to quiet the crowd. He cannot. Offensive rebound. Utah now attacking baseline. Goes up for the jam, and Jack says no.
Wow. That was a big-time play. Because Utah usually has the opportunity to dunk that, but Penn State would have none of it. And a good job by the officials of not anticipating the foul.
Yeah, a lot of times you see that whistle come out on a play like that. Banks with Penn State up by 4. A 13-2 Penn State run. Taylor stretching, hitting. And Penn State with a 34-27 lead and an Iowa timeout.
scoreless for long periods of time. He's getting it going, but the defense also delivering. And then the kick out to Peyton Banks, three-point line in favor of the Nittany Lions.
Penn State just 3-9 in league play, but a 34-27 lead at home over Iowa with 3:19 remaining in the first. And how about Brandon Taylor doing a lot to help this Penn State squad grab the lead?
Shep Garner kept Penn State hanging around, but it's been the play in the last 3 or 4 minutes of Brandon Taylor. 5 quick points, and more impressively, 3 assists versus no turnover. And that's why, Kevin, he is our Duluth Trading hardest working player.
5 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Penn State with a 7-point lead over 4th-ranked Iowa.
And Penn State now doing a nice job of switching defenses, going to the zone, and it leads to a turnover.
We saw the play designed by Fran McCaffrey out of the timeout. Work it down low, ball movement, get it to Uthoff.
And get it right in the gut of the defense. Woodbury did exactly what you should do with a 2-3 zone. Get in the middle, did it. Just a rare turnover by Uthoff around the rim.
Now Penn State with Josh Reeves running the show at the moment. 15 on the shot clock.
And Iowa now extending that 2-3 so they can't lose sight on an illegal screen. That's another turnover. And the foul is on Dickerson.
That's his first 6th team foul on Penn State. So Iowa only fouled 3 times in this first half. They will go to the line the rest of the way for at least a 1-and-1.
And you have to understand that if you're Iowa, you've kind of gone stagnant offensively. Nothing wrong with attacking off the dribble, maybe get to the line and stem the tide.
Woodbury moving to Jock. Now Gazelle finds Clemens. Clemens at the elbow. Tough jumper. Woodbury tips the rebound, keeps it alive, and he is able to pull it in.
And the athleticism of Uthoff kept that alive with the left hand.
Uthoff trying to drive. Good work by Reeves to stay in front. Extra pass finds Uthoff in the corner. Reeves takes it away.
Well, he did. He just flat out pilfered him right there.
Came in with a reputation as a very good defender, an excellent athlete. Josh Reeves, the freshman out of Virginia. And there's Gazelle with the tip into the backcourt. Ball loose, and Gazelle able to pull it in, gets the turnover, and now Clemens inside, fouled by Josh Reeves.
Well, Josh Reeves defensively had to give the foul, and understandably so, at the rim. But the previous possession, he says, I'll take that. And they go the other way, but unfortunately for the Nittany Lions, they give it right back with a careless pass from Peyton Banks.
Clemens trying to break a nearly 3-minute Iowa scoring drought at the free throw line, and he does.
Coach Chambers is explaining that in a little bit further detail.
1 for 2 is Clemens. Good box out by Taylor.
Now, if you are Penn State, you have to understand time and score. You're up 6, under 2 minutes to go. Don't take a quick shot. Don't allow an extra possession unnecessarily for Iowa to allow them to maybe climb back in this or even potentially tie it before you go to the half, because if you're Penn State right now, the momentum is on your side. Don't give it back because you make a bad decision.
Washington's 3.
And that might be a bad decision.
Offensive rebound and a putback by Josh Reeves.
He has given a similar lift to Penn State that Bear gave Iowa when he checked in.
Launching from the corner is Bear. The short 3 rebounded by Washington.
And if you're Iowa, you can live with that shot because you maybe trying to get a 2-for-1 or an extra situation there. You take that early shot, now you know that you're going to get the ball back if you clean up on the defensive end of the floor because of the difference in shot and game clock right now.
Hawks, though, 0 for their last 7 from the floor, 2 for 12. Washington.
You can't make that pass. There's nowhere for it to go.
Gazelle to Jock. Jock driving on Taylor, and there's a foul on Taylor, his second.
And that's just a poor passing decision by Isaiah Washington. I mean, there's no way anything positive is going to happen, even if Dickerson catches the basketball. And then it's compounded by the fact that Brandon Taylor gets his second foul in transition. So it's a mistake for Penn State.
And you send Peter Jock to the line. Terrific free throw shooter at 83% on the year.
And in addition, if you're the Nittany Lions, it compounds by the fact that you take a look at the bottom of your screen, the difference between shot and game clock. Iowa can get an extra possession here.
Our State Farm halftime report is coming up. My call, John Crispin, Robbie Hummel break down the first half action. They'll preview Nebraska, Indiana, and they will have a shooting contest. My money is not on Mike Hall. Peter Jock, 1 for 2 on that trip. 7-point game. Garner. And there's the timeout. Penn State had not used theirs yet, so we'll step aside as well. The final 36.5 seconds of this first half when we return. Penn State by 7. 36.5 seconds remaining in the first half. If you're just tuning in and you're saying, whoa, what's happened here? 7 of 14 from 3 for Penn State. Now, we were just told during the timeout that both teams are getting a warning for a little extracurricular activity. Want to calm this one down a bit.
And they also were a little tardy in getting out of the timeout. Part of the emphasis officials have is getting teams back on the floor before that second horn.
They're out there, and the inbound comes to Shep Garner.
And I like that because prior to that emphasis, some of those timeouts would drag out like a Lifetime movie.
Not to say Sean Morris is opposed to Lifetime movies.
I'm a giver. I'm a carer, Kevin.
Peter Jock is a stealer. Took that one away, and that results in a foul by Peyton Banks that sends Jock to the line.
And again, turnovers really hindering Penn State. If you're the Nittany Lions and you go in to the locker room, you have to ponder where you would be without the self-inflicted wounds. And obviously, that's not a bad foul by Banks because it probably eliminated a breakout opportunity and an easy conversion for Jock, at least make him earn it from the strike.
4 turnovers, to your point, over the last 2 minutes and 59 seconds for Penn State. And we mentioned it earlier, but Iowa is converting those turnovers Now 10 of them into points. Peter Jock makes it 12 points off turnovers in this first half.
And they've also, in the last minute and a half of clock time, we've talked about understanding time and score, and Iowa took a quick shot by Bear, which wasn't made, but it did give them the opportunity to get a potential 2-for-1 situation. And right now, if you are Penn State, you do not want to take a too quick shot, especially a long one, which could essentially serve as an outlet pass for Iowa in transition.
Gazelle with his first foul. That's only the 4th team foul. Iowa with fouls to play with here.
And understanding that if you're Iowa, if you're beaten on a dribble drive, give the common foul and make them take the ball out of bounds.
Washington will inbound, 7.3 seconds remaining. Has to go into the backcourt to Garner. Now Garner's got to hurry. Garner splits 2 defenders. The dish to Jack, and an exclamation point to end the first half for Penn State. What a finish for Penn State at the end of the first half with the score. Penn State 38, Iowa 31. Coming up, it's the State Farm Halftime Report with Mike Hall, John Crispin, and Robbie Hummel. That's straight ahead on BTN.
Penn State colors and show us your Penn State spirit. You can be a winner of a $20 gift certificate from the Big Blue on the Corner, the student bookstore. Who could it be tonight? Let's look for band number 1. There he is. And now band number 2. There's band number 2. So I need your applause for band number 1. Let's hear it. Band number 2. That's pretty close. Let's do it again. Band number 1. And band number 2. Band number 1, you got it. Congratulations. You're the winner of the $20 gift card from the Big Blue on the Corner, the student bookstore. Fans are proud tonight to take a moment to recognize the excellent work done by our student athletes in the classroom during the fall semester. Penn State coaches, administrators, academic advisors, and student athletes all take great pride in the work and commitment shown by our Nittany Lions. And tonight, we ask you to join us in recognizing over 600 student athletes who posted a 3.0 or better during the fall semester. Please stand up, get on your feet, and welcome these great student athletes. Greeted by Penn State Associate Athletic Director Lynn Horan. Women's fencing. Field hockey. Women's golf. Women's gymnastics. Women's ice hockey. Women's lacrosse. Women's track and field. Women's volleyball. Baseball. Men's fencing. Football. Men's gymnastics. And representing his teammates from men's basketball, Michael Watkins. We are proud of the nearly 600 student athletes who posted a 3.0 or better grade point average in the classroom in the fall semester. And we ask you now to join us in offering these fine student athletes a very big round of applause. Get on your feet and show your appreciation. Ladies and gentlemen, our 2015 fall semester academic achievers. Fans, it's time now to meet this week's highlight team of the week. And tonight we introduce to you our Penn State cheerleading squad. Just a few weeks ago, the Nittany Lion cheerleaders participated in the national competition in Orlando, Florida, and made the university proud, placing 5th in the country. A year ago, the Nittany Lions finished 10th, and the 5th place finish marks the highest finish for the team in almost a decade. Congratulations to our Penn State cheerleaders on a fantastic trip to Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for your 2016 Penn State cheerleaders. Penn State Department of Intercollegiate Athletics would like to recognize those who are an official partner of the Nittany Lions. Our blue-white corporate partners are AAA, Dietz & Watson, Hyundai, the Pennsylvania Lottery, the Penn State Alumni Association Credit Card, the Penn State Bookstore, BNC, and Wise Markets. Thank you to all our blue-white corporate partners for their support of Penn State Athletics. Founded in 1855 as Pennsylvania's land-grant college, Penn State University has a story to tell about its homegrown journey and so do many businesses across the Commonwealth. The We Are Pennsylvania program highlights the history and goodwill of many businesses rooted here in our home state of Pennsylvania. Tonight we recognize Comcast. Established in 1863, centered in Philadelphia, their over 139,000 employees strive to earn the respect and trust of customers and the members of the communities they serve. Thank you, Comcast, for your support of Penn State Athletics. The Penn State Department of Intercollegiate Athletics would like to recognize the Nittany Lions official Keystone corporate partners, AT&T, the official wireless provider, IMARC, official health insurance provider, the Penn State Alumni Association, official alumni partner, and Pepsi, official soft drink. Thank you to all of our official Keystone corporate partners for their support of Penn State Athletics. Fans, here's your chance to help Coach Patrick Chambers and the Nittany Lions fight cancer. You can make a pledge for every 3-pointer the Nittany Lions take this year to benefit Coaches versus Cancer. The 3-point pledge drive is presented by AAA. Make your pledge now at budget.org/AAA. Penn State fans, it's time to find out tonight's Penn State Bookstore steal of the game. We've got Mike on the court with our steal of the game. It's a pair of Nike Penn State basketball shorts. And tonight's steal of the game is available for 25% off. You can pick up tonight's Penn State Bookstore steal of the game on the concourse at the bookstore stand on the West Mezzanine. Fans, you can also show your game ticket at the newly renovated Up Bookstore location to receive 25% off the steal of the game. The Penn State Bookstore, the official bookstore of Penn State Athletics. Fans, the Nittany Lions would like to thank the following groups for spending their evening with us. Alpha Fire Company, Penn State Police, Alpha Fire Company, the College of Education, Seven Mountains EMS, Phillipsburg Osceola Youth Basketball, Huntington Area Middle Schools, and Center County Cutters. Thank you for spending your evening with the Nittany Lions. It's time now for the Nittany Lions first half highlights, presented by AT&T To Go.
Entertaining first half. The Penn State Nittany Lions with a 38-31 lead as we get set to start the second half. Alongside Sean Morris, I'm Kevin Kugler. Three-point shooting for Penn State certainly helped the Nittany Lions. 7 of 14 from behind the arc.
And when you compare that to the fact when they met the first time, 1 of 20 from behind the arc when the Nittany Lions were in Iowa City, that's the good news. The bad news, turnovers continuing to plague the Nittany Lions. 10 turnovers, 12 points off those turnovers. Also, the foul line has been kind to the Iowa Hawkeyes. They're 9 of 12, or they'd be even further behind.
For Penn State, you look at Donovan Jack for a surprise performance. 9 points off the bench for Donovan Jack. And our Firestone complete auto care hustle play of the game got blocked by Jack, and then to close the half, the two-handed flush.
And it started with the dribble penetration by Shep Garner. He knocked down a couple of threes. Iowa had to respect that. You saw Woodbury show Donovan Jack making himself available.
Our auto owners game leaders. Peter Jock with 10 points. Clemens 4 assists. Woodbury 5 rebounds. Shep Garner 14 points in the first half on 4 of 5 from three-point land. He's got the ball right now. He was 0 for 16 from 3 his last 3 games.
And Josh Reeves very solid in the first half as well. 3 assists, no turnovers for the freshman.
Peyton Banks with 18 on the shot clock.
And you can see Iowa now really starting to turn up the defensive intensity. Let's see if Penn State's able to get a backdoor cut and use that defensive intensity against them.
Dickerson going past Woodbury, and it's a foul on Jordan Dickerson going the other way.
Yeah, this is a guy in Dickerson. That's not his play. You know, you have to be smarter than that and understand that's not your play. But a nice job by Clemens of sliding over and taking the punch.
First time trailing at the half to an unranked conference opponent this year as Jock tries to cut into that deficit, and he does with a 3.
And that's the second time. He has just done a textbook example of utilizing a screen. We saw him come off shoulder to shoulder in the first half. Here, he steps behind it with a little bit of a flare. The defense from Penn State not able to get over the top, and he knocks it down.
This Iowa team, experienced, senior-laden. They've been through lots of situations, even if they've not been down at half to an unranked conference opponent this year. They've been in a similar spot. No panic seen as the offensive rebound off the miss. Dickerson finding Reeves running it up, but he can't get it to fall. Remember, Penn State started this game 0 for 6 from the floor. Gazelle to Jock for 3. And the rebound, Brandon Taylor for Penn State.
And Peyton Banks dodged one there. He came out hands down rather than hands high.
Garner, the dish to Banks, rotates it around to Taylor. Lets Gazelle fly by and hits the 3.
That's a savvy play by Taylor. Because if he tries to go up with the initial offering, Gazelle's going to obstruct his view of the rim. He understood and used the rhythm dribble, and you got to find Jared Utah. You're not going to hold him in check throughout the course of the ball game. Only 6 first-half points for the second leading scorer in the conference in the first half.
Garner the crossover trying to get past Gazelle. Here's Taylor deep in the corner, rattles it home. Back-to-back threes for Brandon Taylor. Utah to the other end, and he's got the answer again.
You can tell that Iowa looking to turn up the intensity and get out and run and not allow Penn State to kind of utilize the shot clock and force them to defend for the full 30.
Double figures again for Utah. He's reached doubles in all but 1 game this year. He's got 11 in this one, and there's a foul.
They got Jock.
It is Peter Jock with the foul.
Well, Shep Garner, nice job. Wonderful job by Penn State of whipping the ball around the perimeter. And the completion is made possible because of the offensive patience and the utilization of the shot fake and the rhythm dribble to clear some space by Brandon Taylor.
Taylor will inbound. Has to go deep into the backcourt. Plenty of time. The shot clock reset on that first foul on Peter Jock.
Iowa again going to that extended zone defense. So if you're Taylor, you have to get right in the gut of the defense.
Banks trying to do that as he fights down low with Woodbury. Now pops out to get it, and a hand check's going to be called on Clemens, his second. Second team foul on Iowa. Penn State will inbound once more.
And it resets the shot clock for the Nittany Lions. And if you're Penn State, they were not able to get into the bonus in the first half. If you're the Nittany Lions, even though you only went to the foul line 3 times in the first, you want to use the dribble get into the lane and force Iowa to defend off the bounce.
The downside to that is you're not a great free throw shooting team. So if you get there, you got to convert. And the lob converted to Jordan Dickerson for 2.
And a really good job by Peyton Banks of getting down low on that double team and not panicking. A lot of times, Kevin, you'll see a guy in a double team put the ball over his head, and that allows the defenders to get into him. Good job by Banks of getting low.
Gazelle with the ball fake goes past Dickerson and gets to the rim.
Shot fake, turn the corner. Really good job by Gazelle of answering the call.
He's not a big scorer. Picks and chooses his spots. That's his first bucket of the night. .14 to shoot for Banks, and Penn State leading by 5. Here's Reeves down the baseline, and a foul is called. Third team foul this half on the Hawkeyes, and for Woodbury, that's his second.
Mike Gazelle, good shot fake, turn the corner, then put yourself right toward the rim to not allow Dickerson, the shot blocker, to recover. Gazelle with his first 2 points on the evening after going 0 of 4 from the floor in the first 20 minutes.
Josh Reeves to trigger. Garner back out, Banks deep 3. And a foul battling for the rebound underneath against Penn State. Now Dickerson is the guy in there that gets the foul. That is his third, and it will be Dickerson. First foul trouble of the night. Penn State gets smaller as Dickerson leaves and Washington comes in.
But Donovan Jack, the replacement for Dickerson, coming off a really solid performance in the first half with 9 points, a block shot, 4 of 4 from the floor.
So Jack now the main man in the block. Gazelle around the Woodbury screen. Jock for 3 in the corner. Taylor jumped a little bit early, and it stays with Iowa.
That ball went off the rim, and he mistimed his jump by about half a beat.
Second chance for Iowa. Over to Jock, and now Gazelle. Utah came out firing in this second half. He's got 11 points, 5 already in the second as Clemens drives it up. Woodbury, the offensive board, still can't get it to go. The rebound poked out to Reeves. Look at Reeves on the run, driving between 2 defenders. That won't go, and Banks gets the offensive board.
Great hustle by Utah as well to take away the opportunity at the rim. He sprinted, that forced a hurried shot. Penn State fortunate to get the ball back, but great hustle going defensively by Jared Utah.
Oh, that's a tough pass. Boy, good catch by Jack in traffic, and then Donovan Jack with the left hand. He's got 11. Of course, he played well. Jock down the baseline, exploding into Jack, gets the bucket and the foul. Penn State maintaining the lead, though, 48-43. Some good work at the rim.
Well, Jordan Dickerson in foul trouble, but before he goes to the bench, he sends one in off a nice dribble drive. And then Donovan Jack continuing his fine play inside. 11 points for the senior Donovan Jack.
Super Wednesday Basketball on BTN is presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports. Brought to you in part by Auto Owners Insurance, the no-problem people. Find your agent at AutoOwners.com. And by Rocket Mortgage, the fast, powerful, completely online way to get a mortgage by Quicken Loans. State College, Pennsylvania, 48-41 lead for Penn State as we check out tonight's Pizza Ranch game summary. 9 of 18 from 3. A big help if you're trying to pull an upset over number 4 Iowa.
And if Penn State can clean up the turnovers, their chances increase. 11 miscues thus far for the Nittany Lions. 15 points off of those for Iowa. As you take a look at the bottom, only 1 point separates the production thus far offensively by the Penn State Nittany Lions compared to the first time these two teams met in Iowa City.
Yeah, only 49 points in that 73-49 loss. Patrick Chambers has to be a little happier with the fact that his team is scoring more, certainly hitting more from 3, but after the foul on Donovan Jack, Peter Jock completes the three-point play. And here the Hawkeyes, they're so calm. There's no panic here. This team is potent offensively. They've got a ton of weapons. And they know exactly what to do. And they have a ton of experience as well with 4 senior starters and a junior starter. Washington has to jump it back to Garner. That pressure, if nothing else, forces an acceleration on the offensive end. Shot clock at 15. And a couple of younger players along that back line of defense for Iowa right now in the form of Ewell and the freshman Wagner. Donovan Jack fires the 3, and that one rebounded by Ahmad Wagner. He's 7 of 22 from 3 this year. Wagner in the paint, traveled with it. Turnover number 7 for the Hawkeyes. Wagner did a really good job of making himself available, but got a little bit of ahead of himself. He saw a path to the rim and took that extra step, pulled that pivot foot up before he put the ball on the floor. Iowa does not turn it over much, just under 10 per game, 8th fewest turnovers in the nation. And only the 7th thus far on the evening for the Hawkeyes. Washington will inbound to Peyton Banks. Here's Shep Garner. Or did he have the hot hand early? Hit his first 4 from behind the arc. Now 4 for 6 from 3. Garner on the bounce to Taylor. Good show by Ewell. Boy, that was a dangerous pass. Banks open for 3. Taylor with the offensive rebound. Brandon Taylor going to work. Blocked shot by Utah. Few do it better in college basketball than Jared Utah. And Utah waited until Taylor went into a shooting motion before he left the floor. A nice reversal by Mike Gazelle, baiting Taylor, and then came back to the rim and got the foul. Brandon Taylor doing a nice job of corralling the offensive rebound on the miss by Banks. But he brings the ball right into the shot blocker. You see the defensive patience by Utah, one of the easiest blocks he'll have in this his senior season. And then Gazelle trying to go the other way, putting the pressure on Penn State. And Utah came in as the Big Ten's leader in block shots. Utah tonight, just the 1 block shot. BTN's Big Ten finale coming up, presented by Reese's tonight after the game. Taylor guarded by Ewell in the corner. 3-point Penn State lead. Their lead's been as much as 8. Each team's had an 8-point lead at one point in this game. They'll have 12 to shoot. And that's one where Peyton Banks, he missed Donovan Jack. Donovan Jack had flashed very strongly to this strong side block. He had Wagner on his back, and Banks put the ball on the floor. And a timeout taken by Penn State. Couldn't get it inbounded in time, so they will discuss this one with a 3-point lead early second half.
very eyes. Get your tickets now by calling 1-800-NITNY for the Nittany Lions versus Nebraska, Thursday, February 25th at 7 o'clock here in the Jordan Center.
Alongside Sean Morris, I'm Kevin Kugler. Penn State hanging on to a 3-point lead, 48-45. The reason Iowa's coming back, Peter Jock's having a nice game again.
Peter Jock, the junior, averaging 16 points per ball game on the year. He has equaled that here with 13 minutes to go in this ball game, and he has showed his full offensive arsenal. The ability to score at the rim. This is what he's most known for during his time in Iowa City, the catch and release three. And his improvement over the course of his time under Coach Fran McCaffrey, very, very impressive as these numbers attest.
You see more minutes, more points, better shooting, and our Quicken Loans amazing performance. Peter Jock, 16 points, 5 of 10 shooting, and Jock 4 for 5 at the free throw line as well. A long way to go with this one. And Shep Garner and Penn State with 8 on the shot clock. Garner the dish down low to Washington, and Washington stepped on the baseline, and a Penn State turnover. That's number 12.
And again, half of those have been of the unforced variety, Kevin. And Washington, yeah, there's no question about it.
Great camera shot by our crew to pick up that one right along the baseline. Easy call, and now Iowa, who's cashed in consistently on Penn State turnovers, a chance to do it again.
And as long as they're able to remain within striking distance as Iowa returns the favor with an illegal screen by Dom Ewell, if they can remain in striking distance, you take a look over at the Iowa bench. Your two senior frontline guys in Woodbury and Utah are over there as Coach Fran McCaffrey trying to get them some rest so they can deliver here down the stretch.
Reeves will inbound. Garner weaving up the floor. Shep Garner's been quiet of late. Here's Banks looking baseline, blocked off by Ewell.
Now the freshman Ahmad Wagner is matched up with Donovan Jack. Jack has the experience factor.
Garner trying to find the range once more, and Ewell the rebound.
I'd have liked to see an inside post touch either by Jack or by Brandon Taylor before you offer up another three.
And not taking advantage of Woodbury and Utah on the bench right now. Gazelle the deep two. That's strong off the heel. There's Jack with a rebound and a foul. Dom Ewell, back-to-back fouls on this end.
And it's a small thing, Kevin, but Donovan Jack goes up with two hands. Watch what Donovan Jack does. Does he go after it with one? No. Two hands in traffic. He not only corrals it, but because he went with two hands, he also draws the foul from Dom Ewell. Solid play by the senior.
15 foul on Iowa in this second half. Penn State's been whistled for 4. Reeves driving. Reeves all the way, and a block by Ahmad Wagner. One-on-one play, and Wagner, the freshman, gets the win.
And that's a play Reeves will understand moving forward. You put your shoulder toward the rim. You don't fade away from contact.
And Bear traveled with it, trying to get around the big man, shuffled the pivot.
And I think this is going to get, yeah, it is. It's going to get Jared Utah into the ball game. Coach McCaffrey said, you had enough rest. You're 21, get out there.
Trying to save him, you would think, for the under 12 media timeout, but close counts and horseshoes, hand grenades, and the reinsertion of Jared Utah into the lineup.
Yes, the Holy Trinity, so to speak.
Here's Taylor. Got a good look from 3. Not going to go. Rebound kicked over to Peter Jock. Penn State just 2 for 8 from 3 in the second half, and there's a foul before the shot.
And I really like what Jock did. He understood that Penn State wasn't situated defensively, and he just attacks off the dribble. He attacks the inside foot of the backpedaling defender. Right there, you see him? Really good job by Jock of understanding he had the younger player, Reeves, in a precarious defensive position.
3-point ball game. Penn State has not scored in over 3.5 minutes. Can Iowa take advantage? Jock for the tie. That's strong offensive rebound, Dom Ewell. Ewell bumping his way in, and that's going to be a foul against Peyton Banks. Timeout on the floor, 11:48 remaining in the second half. The 4th-ranked Iowa Hawkeyes trying to solve Penn State on the road. Super Wednesday. Super Wednesday basketball on BTN is presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports, and brought to you in part by State Farm. We exist to assist. Welcome back to Happy Valley as we welcome you back inside the Bryce Jordan Center, and a look at our Reese's Perfect combination. This year it's been the combination. A little bit down from their scoring average, at least to this point.
Well, in the last outing, Jared Utoff with 24 points and Peter Jock with 27, and in a low-scoring affair thus far this evening, both of those guys struggling at times to get into the offensive flow.
3rd highest scoring duo in the last 40 years at Iowa. Only the duo of Roy Marble and B.J. Armstrong. And Adam Haluska and Tyler Smith top what Utoff and Jock have done this year, averaging nearly 35 points per game. 15 to shoot for Clemens. Now 10 to shoot. Clemens working against Garner. Gives it off to Ewell. Dom Ewell with the scoop towards the rim. And Jack, who's playing such good basketball, gets the rebound.
And Iowa, it's rare that you see them stick the ball on one side of the floor. It didn't reverse. As a result, the Nittany Lions really only had to defend half their defensive real estate.
Banks open 3 in the corner, and it's good. What a huge shot for Penn State. They hadn't scored in over 4 minutes.
That had a more than adequate amount of arc on it before it found the bottom of the well.
Clemens looking for the answer. Garner there to send him back to the perimeter.
You wonder, they probably got to get a shot here for Utah. especially with Taylor guarding him with a couple of fouls.
And Dom Ewell attacking Donovan Jack, and he banks it in.
Nice job by the sophomore Ewell of playing through a little contact up high, and Donovan Jack has shown the ability, Kevin, to block shots.
There's been some concern amongst Iowa fans, what little there can be when you're fourth in the nation, about the Iowa bench. We've seen some contribution tonight from that bench, Ewell and Baer specifically.
As you have throughout the vast majority of this season. Only in a couple of games here a few weeks ago did they kind of struggle in terms of production.
There's a little production as well. Ahmad Wagner with his third rebound. Clemens now quickly to Uthoff, and Uthoff traveled. 10th Iowa turnover.
The three-point shot has been Penn State's friend this evening, especially in the first half. But a little skip pass, the good extra pass by Washington allows Banks to get his feet set. But Dom Ewell, who was the eyewitness to the three-pointer over his head, returns the favor with a tough conversion in traffic.
Ewell's done a good chunk of his work from behind the arc from an offensive standpoint in conference play. Showing he's got a little drive and dish ability as well. Tipped by Jock into the backcourt.
And look at the space between the two lines of defense being employed by Iowa right now. Penn State has to be cognizant of that and get in the gut of the defense and force Iowa to defend.
Banks the floater, and he banks it home. Penn State maintaining a 6-point lead. Ewell on the drive at Dickerson, and he draws the foul. Dickerson right back off the bench. Ewell driving it at him, and that's the fourth foul on Dickerson.
Well, Peyton Banks knocked down a three a couple possessions ago, but here he gets in the lane, and he uses every bit of the window. That's why the good Dr. Naismith put it up there. Use it.
Even drew a square there for you to utilize a target. BTN will have opening round as well as quarterfinal action of the 2016 Big Ten Men's Basketball Tournament live from Indianapolis. Coverage of this can't-miss event starts March 9th on BTN and BTN to go.
And if you haven't had the opportunity to attend the Big Ten Tournament in Indianapolis, they do a fantastic job. So if you're not going to catch the games on BTN and you have an opportunity to get to Indianapolis, take advantage.
Rocket passes to find Banks. Here's Garner now. He'll go back to Banks in the corner, launching, rolls off. Jack had the rebound, batted away. Clemens up quickly. Jock finds Ewell. Ewell in the paint with the hook.
Well, how about Ewell? The last three possessions, he has been fantastic.
4 points, 4 rebounds for Ewell. On the bench, 10 points tonight, but much more production than just scoring off that Iowa bench. Garner from the elbow. The step back is there. That was pretty.
And he also got that space, Kevin. Let's not forget, he stretched out Iowa defensemen from behind the arc. They're cognizant of that, giving him a much wider berth if he had not knocked down those threes.
Still a 6-point lead for Penn State, and a foul on Josh Reeves trying to block Uthoff from the baseline. That's 3 on Reeves. 3 on Reeves, 3 on Taylor, 4 on Dickerson. And a 1-and-1 opportunity on the 8th team foul.
Yeah, they just gave a bench warming to Iowa.
Well, the entirety of the trip down the floor, Fran McCaffrey was aggressively counseling the official on how he'd like to see the game called the rest of the way.
Neither coach in that sequence was necessarily overjoyed.
Rob Kuhneman, I believe, was less overjoyed than either coach at that moment.
But I'll give him credit. You know what? This is a highly contested ball game. No need to utilize a quick trigger. I really like that.
Yeah, give the warning. Yeah. Let him know. But he also allowed the coach to say what he needed to say.
And be done with it.
Yep. It's a veteran crew tonight. Rob Kuhneman, Mark Whitehead, and Tom Eads. 4-point advantage for Penn State.
Oh, boy, he was really...
And there's the foul on Clemens.
I tell you what, though, Peyton Banks is really lucky. He was very, very nonchalant. And then there's another bench warming over here to Coach Chambers. Yeah, there's bench warnings all around. And Peyton Banks, very fortunate that the foul was called on Clemens. Not that there wasn't a foul, but Peyton Banks was very nonchalant going to meet that pass.
So now we've had warnings for getting out of the timeout. We've had warnings to the benches. We've had aggressive play that's been discussed. We have Jack driving to the rim, floats it up and in, and a foul. Looked like he's trying to decide whether to dunk it or lay it in, and he gets the foul on Woodbury on the kind roll.
And Penn State kind of returns the favor to Iowa. Iowa had been attacking on these situations, but how about the bounce pass from Shep Garner? And Donovan Jack, he had no idea that ball went through the cylinder until he heard the crowd cheer, because he was worried about how he was going to land. The ball kind of just came out of his hands, and Donovan Jack continuing his outstanding performance.
Can't convert on the three-point play, but Jack, 13 points. His high this year's 14 at Northwestern. His career high is 18, and now we've got a foul on Banks. Or rather, not on Banks, looks like it goes on Reeves.
And Reeves just got a warning, and rightfully so, because he stuck his hand up through the net.
Well, there was a 0 signaled, there was a 23 signaled. I believe the foul's on Reeves. If it is, it's his 4th. They're sorting it out right now at the scores table, and it is Reeves, and it is his 4th. And now the whistle's coming a little more frequently as the intensity has ratcheted up.
Well, and a lot of good thing that the officials are not attorneys and billed by the conversation, or the whole place will be bankrupt, because they're talking to everybody right now, making sure that cooler heads prevail.
There's a reason that the league has decided to pay them a flat rate as opposed to billable hours.
But it's real. I just like the fact that they have maintained control, Kevin, but they haven't had to show that they're quote-unquote in charge. They understand that the game is the thing, and their job is to mediate, not to be the center of attention. They've done a really good job in that regard.
Yeah, because there have been a couple of instances where it could have gotten out of hand. Has not. And it's an intense moment. It's February. We've been talking about Big Ten tournament. We're down the stretch here. Every game is big. Garner on the dish. Open Washington for 3, and the air ball caught by Peter Jock. Hawkeyes down 4 on the road. Gazelle finds Utah for 3. And Taylor the rebound for Penn State.
And another strong two-handed rebound by Brandon Taylor. And if you're Iowa, good job by Jock of locating Taylor on the trail situation. Really smart play by the junior defensively.
7:17 to go. Penn State looking for a major league upset. Washington with 4 to shoot. Jock right on him. Washington from the elbow, and that's a shot clock violation.
Yeah, that's not the person you want to have the ball in his hands if you're Penn State. Good job by Iowa of getting it out of the ball handlers, making Washington make decisions. But speaking of decisions, how about the one by Shep Garner to Donovan Jack, as Donovan Jack getting it done off the beautiful delivery by Shep Garner. The Nittany Lions up 4 at home. The Nittany Lions up 4 at home, and a number of potential heroes as we're going to take a look at our Motorist Insurance Group drive to the hoop. And 2 of these potential heroes on display. First, the guard play of Shep Garner. Watch right here. Watch where the bounce pass hits Donovan Jack. It's above the waist and allows his momentum to take him to the rim. He doesn't have to reach back for him. The pass leads him right into his shooting motion, and he's able to convert for our Motorist Insurance Group drive to the hoop.
He was halfway up looking like, I'm going to try to dunk this. Then the contact came. It pops out of his hand, and it goes in for a pair.
Beautiful delivery by Shep Garner.
Now the Hawkeyes down 4 with 6:45 to go. Utah with 13, Jock with 18 to pace Iowa. Woodbury backs it out. 4 on the shot clock. Utah, the fadeaway 3. Not going to go, and the foul underneath.
And that's the right call. Woodbury did a good job when that ball was in flight, Kevin, of getting the inside position. He went underneath the rim, then came back out, and Julian Moore knew he was beaten, grabbed a handful of Woodbury's jersey.
Julian Moore sending Woodbury to the line. It's 2 free throws the rest of the way for Iowa. And remember, this is an Iowa team that on the year 72% at the foul line.
They're now 16 of 22 from the stripe. You contrast that with the Nittany Lions, only 1 of 4. They're also in the bonus, Kevin. So if you're Penn State, hey, look, attack Iowa as well.
1 for 4 for Penn State, 0 for 1 in this half. They hit 7 threes in the first half, but just 3 of 11 in the second half, yet they still lead by 2 with 6:15 to go. Peyton Banks now.
And Jack has an interesting, Donovan Jack has an interesting potential matchup right there with Woodbury with 3 fouls.
He's got to go. Jack drives right by him and takes it in for 2. Woodbury couldn't do much with it.
Nice recognition by Donovan Jack.
There's Utah against Jack, and Donovan Jack, excellent post defense. The ball bounced up by Reeves, and Garner skies for it. Now Garner, the no-look pass to Reeves. He can't finish. Taylor's tip won't go, and Penn State keeps the possession.
Oh, smart play. Pull it out now. And Garner delivered in absolute beauty to Josh Reeves. That's the second time the freshman Reeves wasn't able to convert off a tremendous pass by Shep Garner.
Just 1 for 5 is Reeves tonight. 12 on the shot clock. And a whistle away from the ball. Taylor was battling with Utah, and it's Taylor who gets his 4th personal foul.
And that's the right call. In this regard, Kevin, neither player can dislodge the other. And I thought Taylor tried to dislodge Jared Utah. Not a popular call, but I think it's the right call.
Big moment in this game. Isaiah Washington checks in. He's 1 for 5 from the floor. Brandon Taylor leaves. Taylor's been the leading scorer in the last 8 games. He's got 11 points and 8 rebounds, and he's on the bench at the 5:20 mark.
Yeah, and he'll stay there till probably the next media timeout at the 4. So if you're Iowa, you have to take advantage.
There's Jock on the baseline trying to do just that. The rebound to Washington. Right off the bench, he comes in, grabs the board.
Now, the one thing, if you're Isaiah Washington, they're going to leave you open. And when you're struggling to shoot the ball, as Isaiah Washington is right now, you're open for a reason. Don't take the bait.
Garner driving inside, looking for contact, and the ball knocked out of bounds by Iowa. To your point, though, not a bad decision by Garner to get inside. He knows if he's fouled, he's going to the line where he's been very good this year.
And if you are Penn State right now, you have to understand the shot clock sitting at 12. No need to rush, but you also have to understand you have to get into your set pretty quickly.
8 to shoot. Garner looking for the Jack screen. Gazelle staying with him to skip over to Washington, who has to launch. That's not going to go, and a foul is going to be called. Banks and Jack were both there, and Peyton Banks picks up the personal foul, and that's his 3rd. Deep foul trouble right now for Penn State. Banks and Moore with 3. Reeves, Taylor, and Dickerson with 4.
And what that over the back call does, in addition to compound the insult to the injury in terms of foul situation for Penn State, is it sends Iowa to the charity stripe with a chance to cut into this lead with the clock stopped.
One of your two best free throw shooters at the line as well, as Jock rolls the first one home. He is 7 of 8 tonight at the line. He has 19 points. Iowa has shot 24 free throws, Penn State 4. And Jock brings the Hawkeyes within 2. 59-57, Penn State by 2.
You might want to try to isolate Donovan Jack again if Woodbury is guarding. And there's that situation. Woodbury with the 3 fouls, they cleared out that side of the floor and allowed Jack to get the ball on that left elbow in his strong hand.
There's Washington trying to attack. Gazelle with the bump before the shot. And Mike Gazelle's second foul will send Washington to the line for the 1-and-1. 18th foul on Iowa, Sean.
Washington, a 62% foul shooter, but if you are Penn State, that's what you need to do, especially with your leading scorer, Brandon Taylor, on the bench right now with 4.
Front end is good from Washington. Just a 62% shooter at the line. His first attempt tonight. Not had a ton of chances, just 14 of 22. And Penn State's lead creeps back up to 4 with 4:15 to go in the ballgame. Each team has led by 8 in this game, and a foul is going to be called away from the ball. That's on Banks, and that is his 4th, and 2 more free throws coming for Iowa.
And yeah, he had him. He had that inside or right arm. It wasn't on there for a long period of time, but he had that little mini hold on Utah, impeding his progress.
And Utah, first miss of the night at the line for Utah. And that foul trouble really starting to become a major problem for Penn State. Look at all those with 4.
Especially for Penn State, your bench is not all that deep, and Brandon Taylor checking in between foul shots. Coach Chambers figuring, hey, I've got to roll the dice here at home and trust my senior.
Washington with 4 minutes to go in this one. A 3-point Penn State lead, trying to upset number 4 Iowa. Knock off the Big Ten leaders. Washington into the paint, and he draws the contact. He has been aggressively attacking since he came off the bench. And this Penn State team is getting some guys off the bench to help, including Donovan Jack.
Well, Donovan Jack, they clear the side of the floor, understanding time and score. Woodbury in foul trouble, and defensively, Jack making his presence known. As a result, his Nittany Lions up 3 at home.
Mike, thank you very much. You look at the standings and what's at stake. Well, every game is big in the Big Ten, especially down the stretch. And Iowa with the one-game lead, trying to maintain that going into a week off before they face Wisconsin next week on BTN.
And a loss here would take them out of the driver's seat and the ability to control their own destiny in terms of the regular season title. And the Indiana Hoosiers will be on the Big Ten Network following this game.
Anything can happen on any night in the Big Ten Conference. Isaiah Washington, after the third foul on Mike Gazelle, to the line. And Washington, re-entering the game a few moments ago, has provided some hustle. He's been aggressive driving to the hole, and 3 for 3 now at the line.
4 for 4. I like that, man.
That was excellent.
Oh, yeah.
The abacus came in handy tonight.
It did, and fortunately for Penn State, Washington understanding he's not necessarily a great jump shooter and starting to attack off the dribble, understanding time and foul situation.
There's Gazelle. Uthoff working against Moore. Gazelle skips it to Clemens with 8 on the shot clock, and there's a hand check on Isaiah Washington. That'll be his second. And to the free throw line for 2 goes Clemens.
And that ball reversal, a small thing, Kevin, but that skip pass over the top then forced Penn State to kind of scramble defensively. They don't close out under control. Clemens recognizes that, turns the corner, and draws the contact.
One more for Clemens, who has 6 points tonight.
And a nice
3 at the line.
Sorry, Kevin, and a nice little offensive for defensive substitution, keeping Taylor out on the defensive end of the floor to avoid his potential fifth and getting him back now when Penn State has the ball.
4-point lead for Penn State with the ball.
And if you are Taylor, you have to understand that even though you're going through those situational substitutions, you don't want to draw an unnecessary player control foul on an out-of-control drive to the basket.
Washington again on the attack to Donovan Jack for a pair.
How about the response by Isaiah Washington? He struggled shooting the ball, but he's delivered from the foul line, and they're getting the ball to Jack.
And Uthoff's shot rejected by Donovan Jack. No whistle underneath, and it'll stay with Iowa.
And I think Donovan Jack, he might have been able to catch this. Watch how high Jack is. But on the offensive end, making himself available, and Washington finds it. Watch how high he is. I thought he could have caught that. I think he was so surprised that the ball was right there. It was actually chest level.
And with that play, the ability for Patrick Chambers to get Brandon Taylor out of the game on the defensive end and bring in the substitution.
And a really nice job of understanding that that opportunity presented itself, because that was a split-second decision.
And it was a split second from Taylor getting his 5th foul on that drive by Uthoff. Here's Jock with 2:45 to go. And a whistle and a foul. That one's going to go on Donovan Jack, and that is his 3rd. So Uthoff's going to the line.
You know, Donovan Jack trying to battle Uthoff for position. No, about 4/5 of his job was done. He'd gotten Uthoff off that sweet spot. You know, there's just times where you have to kind of live the fight another day, and Jared Uthoff uncharacteristically struggling here from the foul line.
Yeah, just 5 of 7, but both of his misses have come in the second half. Iowa 21 of 30 as a team, as the second goes to cut the lead to 5. Here's Garner with 2:45 to go. Penn State looking for the major upset.
Smart play by Jack. Get in the middle. Now, with the floor being a spread, remember a few possessions ago, Kevin? They got Donovan Jack at that left elbow and let him attack Woodbury with those 3 fouls.
Garner with 8 on the shot clock. Shep Garner wants to go. Uthoff picks him up on the switch. The kick in the corner. Open is Reeves. The shot no good, and Jock the rebound. 2:10 to go. Jock on the push, and it's intercepted by Washington.
And a really smart play by Garner. His teammate was running the floor, and rather than trying to make a spectacular play, Garner slows it down and is going to force Iowa now to exert some energy defensively up 5.
And they're standing here in State College. Last time they beat a top 5 team was on BTN when they knocked off Michigan a few years back. They're 145 from another top 5 win. Washington for 3. Not going to go. Taylor gets the tip of the putback.
And that was made possible because of the activity of Josh Reeves. He kept it alive to allow Taylor to clean it up.
Utah, ball fake, driving all the way to the rim, and he's fouled, and Iowa's going to get the chance to score with the clock stopped. The foul on Reeves, and Reeves has fouled out of the ball game.
If you're going to pull an upset, it's the little things that make it possible. And the little thing right there was Josh Reeves, number 23, coming in. Watch right here with the left hand. He keeps it alive, tips it to Taylor for the conversion. The freshman Josh Reeves with a potential play of the day.
And he is fouled out of this ball game. And remember, Josh Reeves started tonight. Devin Foster not available. He averages almost 21 minutes a game, does Foster, but he's not here tonight after his girlfriend delivered a baby.
And Reeves, a couple of weeks ago, was sidelined with mono. So you have to really give credit to him to be able to come out and play with this high level for the number of minutes that he has, and to have the courage and the fortitude to make that type of hustle play this late in the ball game. Very impressive.
Yeah, he played 27 minutes tonight. As Utah goes to the line. And Utah with 3 missed free throws in the second half.
Now, if you are Penn State, you need to squeeze down, in particular on the inside player in this situation, Bear, on the far side of the lane. He's very active.
And Utah 1 for 2. And
he's got blood.
Shep Garner has a bloody elbow. Training staff has a moment to get him taken care of. Iowa down the stretch, Sean, 0 for their last 4 from the floor. 2 of their last 9. They're staying in the game only at the free throw line, and even there they've had some ups and downs down the stretch.
And turnovers, although Penn State has done a better job of tidying up that part of the ball game, turnovers have also allowed Iowa to hang around as the Nittany Lions closing in on 20 turnovers here at home. And on this situation, Washington has to understand he can run the baseline, and if you are Garner, you have to do whatever is necessary to get open here.
And a whistle. And there's going to be a foul called before the inbound on Jared Utah. Utah with his first. And that is the 10th team foul. And so now Penn State will get 2 free throws the rest of the way. And it's Brandon Taylor. Don't forget, coming up next, Super Wednesday continues as Nebraska hits the road to take on 22nd ranked Indiana.
And Indiana, a couple of weeks ago, came in here into State College and also left with an L. And Iowa, right now, 1 minute and 25, if they're not able to overcome this Penn State lead, kind of condemning themselves to the same fate.
And Taylor, absolutely fearless at the line, 8-point lead. Utah the 3, and that's good.
That's big time.
What a bucket for Iowa as Utah brings the Hawkeyes within 5, and a timeout taken by Fran McCaffrey in Iowa. It was February 27th, 2013, the last time Penn State beat a 4th-ranked team, the only time they beat the top 5 team in years, and that was an 84-78 win on February 27th of 2013. Marshall at 25, DJ Newble 17, and Trey Burke in Michigan left the floor disappointed with that performance. Here, Penn State trying to knock off 4th-ranked Iowa, and the Hawkeyes causing some problems in the backcourt, and then a foul on Gazelle. That's not necessarily what Iowa was hoping for right there, because they had Penn State in some trouble.
And that ball was up for grabs. I mean, that thing was floating up there, but credit Donovan Jack. Kevin, it's the small things which can make a difference in a potential upset like this. We saw Reeves with an example before he fouled out, and that's the second time Donovan Jack has gone after the ball in traffic with 2 hands.
Donovan Jack has just tied his career high with 18 points off the bench. And the senior has a new career best night. 19 points against 4th-ranked Iowa.
And how about the job that Coach Pat Chambers has done since Brandon Taylor got his 4th foul, utilizing that situational substitution, offense for defense.
7-point deficit for the Hawkeyes. Peter Jock, the 3 up. No good. Rebound batted in the air, and it's Isaiah Washington who pulls it down, and he's fouled.
Isaiah Washington with a good job of tracking that ball down, but a really good job by Peyton Banks. He didn't go for the shot fake by Jock, and then he forced him to make a difficult shot, potentially going to his off or left hand. And watch where Washington goes. He bats it and is able to corral it in the corner. A number of potential heroes for Penn State tonight, and Isaiah Washington, one on that list.
Well, there were grumblings after Penn State's loss at Nebraska, and the dreaded Q word was thrown around in some circles about that second half against the Huskers when Penn State really struggled and Andrew White had the big game. But if you were one who thought that this team had quit in any way, shape, or form, tonight ought to be an indicator that they certainly have not. They have really battled tonight.
And how about the job Isaiah Washington has done from the foul line? Perfect from the stripe.
What a spark he's been as Jack sits down. Another spark. Washington has 9 points, tying his best game of the year, and there's a 3. And Iowa just refusing to go quietly here in State College. A 6-point Penn State lead in a timeout. During this Iowa timeout, our officials have gone over to check the monitor. Was Mike Gazelle's 3 a 3? He's over there, but he's not shot it yet. That looks like a 3.
That looks like a 3.
From that angle, I would say the call was correct on the court.
But they're doing the right thing. Take a look at it.
They want to look one more time. Obviously, it means a great deal. 1 minute to go, and a 3 by Mike Gazelle, his first 3 of the night, to bring Iowa within 6.
And Gazelle in that possession, and a couple possessions ago, fellow senior Jared Utah with big-time threes to keep Iowa in this ball game.
Look at it one more time. A little zoom in here.
Yeah, I think that's a 3. Yeah, he's behind.
And it is indeed a 3. Everybody's looked at it. Everybody's satisfied. A 3 is the call for Gazelle.
And on the make, Washington again has to be cognizant of the fact he can run the baseline here. No need to panic.
Washington runs it, finds Garner. Garner is fouled with 58.7 seconds to go. Wagner and Clemens were both there, and it'll be on Ahmad Wagner. That is his second. Shep Garner to the line for the first time tonight.
And Garner did exactly what you should do in that situation. You've got an inexperienced player in Washington taking the ball out. Now, Garner only a year older in terms of eligibility, but understanding that Washington has the most difficult job on the floor and makes himself available and runs to the strong side where Washington is going to run and making himself available. Smart play by Garner.
7-point lead, 58.7 seconds to go. Don't forget Nebraska, Indiana next as BTN's Super Wednesday presented by Buffalo Wild Wings continues. 2 for 2 for Shep Garner. And back out goes Taylor. In comes Julian Moore. And this is the dance that Patrick Chambers has done for the last 3 minutes of this game with Taylor having 4 fouls. Here's Gazelle going past Garner, gets inside. The tip by Jock won't go, and Moore cleans up the rebound. Bear looking for the tie-up. Instead, the foul is called, and Moore is headed to the line.
And Moore missed his first 2 offerings way back in the early part of this ball game. He has a chance, if he's able to convert both of these, to make this a 10-point lead for Penn State, and that is a lot of ground to make up, even with as many offensive weapons at the disposal of Iowa.
It's been since 2011 that Penn State beat back-to-back ranked opponents at home. Michigan State and Illinois were the victims that year. What a February it has been so far for Penn State, as Julian Moore misses on the second 9-point ball game. They get crushed by Iowa on the road. They beat Indiana at home. They get crushed on the road by Nebraska. And maybe, just maybe, they're going to pull off the upset over Iowa. But first, a foul underneath on Donovan Jack before the 3 went in by Baird. The shot does not count as Jack gets his 4th foul.
And that would not be at the top of the list of things, if you're Penn State, that you would want to see. A foul, sending Peter Jock to the line with a chance to cut into this 9-point lead with the clock stopped. And 40 seconds is still a lot of time.
1 more to come. Jowett tonight with 21.
And it's Julian Moore rather than Donovan Jack that exits the ball game.
Jock goes 2 for 2 on that trip. And in comes Christian Williams for the first time tonight.
Yeah, and Christian Williams is in there for one reason. He's going to give the foul.
Isaiah Washington, the inbound to Taylor, and Taylor is fouled, as you mentioned. Williams came in to use one of his 5 requisite fouls, which he does.
You didn't have to be Stephen Hawking to see that one coming.
Taylor with 2 shots, 2 for 2 tonight, 15 points, 9 rebounds. But unless Brandon Taylor makes a big run at the line, he's going to have his streak snapped of leading this team in scoring thanks to the 19-point night from Donovan Jack.
If this lead holds, the person that will care the least about that is Brandon Taylor.
Yep. Inbound to Gazelle. 35 seconds to go. Hawkeyes looking for a miracle now. Utah trying to provide one from 3, not going to go. Gazelle, the offensive rebound. He'll back it out to Jock, who will launch the 3, and he'll hit. Peter Jock hits the 3, and Iowa not dead yet. Down 6 on the road.
That is a very difficult shot for a number of reasons. You have a defender running right at you, but what made that 3-pointer good, watch the follow-through on Peter Jock. Watch the fish hook right there. He stays with it all the way to the bottom of the well. That is a big-time reptilian 3 from Peter Jock. That is a beautiful follow-through.
Reminds me of a young Sean Morris.
Yeah, he's got 2 arms and 2 legs. That's about it.
That's about the extent of it. So 23.8 seconds to go. You see the numbers for Jock. Obviously, if you're Fran McCaffrey, you are hoping at some point that Penn State misses at the foul line. They're 15 of 17 in the second half at the stripe, which is a good way to pull an upset if you're a Nittany Lion fan.
And you have to believe that right now what they're emphasizing is if whatever it takes to face guard Shep Garner is going to be very, very important, and make Isaiah Washington make an even more difficult decision as the potential inbounder for Penn State.
Well, for Iowa, the schedule does not exactly lighten up. You've got teams all in the top 8 in the conference, a week off before Wisconsin on BTN, then at Ohio State, Indiana, and they close at Michigan.
The Badgers right now heading into their game later this week with a 7-game winning streak, most recently going on the road and winning at Maryland pretty convincingly. And you're going to see Clemens right now. He's completely face guarding Garner, but a good job by Garner of making himself available.
Garner trapped, the ball thrown away. Banks diving for it. The tie up, and it's Iowa ball.
And that was almost a live ball turnover. That was almost a live ball turnover because that thing caromed. They trapped Garner in the corner. Really good job by Iowa being aggressive in that regard. And then Penn State kind of panicked, threw it up for grabs. And the Nittany Lions very fortunate that Iowa now has to inbound it on a dead ball situation rather than able to sit up the press off a miss.
Utah stepping back, trying to draw contact, can't get the call. Offensive rebound, the shovel to Jock in the corner, and he hits again! Iowa's within 3. Peter Jock has brought the Hawkeyes nearly all the way back. Now, Iowa does not have a timeout, but they're going to look at this to make sure it was a 3. So this is a break for Fran McCaffrey.
You also have to wonder, I didn't see anyone from Iowa signal timeout, which would be devastating for Iowa in this situation. I mean, that's a technical, and it could essentially end this ball game. But Peter Jock, good job by Donovan Jack of maintaining verticality, forcing a difficult offering. But Jock there's no question, that's a 3. And he follows up a 27-point performance last time out versus Minnesota. Was that 28 for him now?
He now has 28, yes. No one called timeout. They were checking the clock. 7 seconds to go. Then no technical foul.
And the most important player on the floor right now is number 21 for the Penn State Nittany Lions. He is the only player right now that has the entire play in front of him for his squad.
And a foul before the inbound. I think Taylor may have been held by Ahmad Wagner, and that'll send Taylor marching to the other end to the line. Nebraska, Indiana still to come, but what a finish here in State College.
And make or miss, expect Penn State to give a little token pressure, right? And force Iowa to burn whatever remaining time may be at their disposal. Maybe even if it's a second, that's huge if you're Penn State, to force them to go east and west, even ever so slightly, rather than a direct north line dribble up the floor.
And one more coming for Taylor. He's perfect tonight at the line. 5 for 5, 18 points, 9 rebounds. One more for Taylor. Woodbury the rebound. Iowa's got to hustle. They're down 4. Clemens has to shoot it. It's stripped out of his hands by Garner, and Penn State has knocked off 4th-ranked Iowa in Happy Valley. (79-75). Penn State defeats the Iowa Hawkeyes by 4, and now Iowa in a 3-way tie in the loss column atop the Big Ten standings. What a night for Patrick Chambers and for the Penn State Nittany Lions, who've now evened their record at 13-13, and they are 4-9 in conference play. 10 games this year for Penn State decided by 6 points or less. They're 7-3 in those games. And Happy Valley is even happier tonight with Penn State winning 79-75. Iowa falls to 20-6 and 11-3 on the season. That'll do it from the Bryce Jordan Center with our score. Penn State 79, Iowa 75. Coming up, it's game 2 of Super Wednesday as Nebraska takes on 22nd ranked Indiana. Dave Repson and Bob Wenzel on the call. For Sean Morris, I'm Kevin Kugler saying so long from Penn State.
Yeah, I'm here. Yep, I'm ready. Thanks a lot. Hey, Coach, congratulations to you and your team on a hard-fought win. A lot of heroes. We'll talk about the job Isaiah Washington and Donovan Jack gave you this evening.
Those two guys really stepped up without Devin Foster being here to be able to play. Congratulations to Devin. I'm really proud of these guys. After what happened in Nebraska, we came back and we worked extremely hard the last 3 days.
Shep Garner got it going from behind the arc, but I thought his ability to deliver the basketball also very impressive. How important was it for him to have this type of game?
When he started out the game 4 for 5, it just makes the offense look so much better, doesn't it? I always said, you and I talked about it at a walkthrough, when you make shots, things look a little bit better, and our defense was a little bit better. Last time we played them, they scored, I think, 45 points us in the first half. We held them to 31. So Shep gives us that little train that could, making shots and serving everybody up.
Another guy that continues to impress in his senior season is Brandon Taylor. He battled foul trouble, but he provided some leadership for you, both verbally and non-verbally, didn't he, tonight?
I was really proud of Brandon's leadership out there, there's no doubt about it. It was tough for him to get his 4th foul. He's playing really well. He was helping us out on the defensive end, doing a lot of talking. He made timely shots, made great free throws. That's what he's done. I told you today, he brought this team in on Sunday, and he wasn't standing for it anymore. That's what you're proud of most.
Coach, you should be proud of this team. Go enjoy it with them. Congratulations.
Thanks, Sean.
Guys. Donovan, congratulations on a tremendous performance. A lot we could talk about offensively, but talk about that block shot you had on Utah. That really swung some momentum to your team.
I saw him going baseline. I knew he liked to spin back, and I was just trying to help out my teammate BT. Just come over. I timed it perfectly, so that was all.
You did a really good job around the rim, making yourself available. But talk about the dribble drive when it looked like the team cleared that left side of the floor, and you were able to take it to Woodbury with the left hand.
Hey, I kind of saw it, knew the clock was running down, and I just ripped it and went, and just what was going to happen was going to happen. And if I went strong, get a foul or get a layup, so one of the two.
You're a senior. You've seen a lot here during your time in State College. How rewarding is it for you and your teammates to see all that hard work come to fruition? There's been many times you've been in this situation just not able to close it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's big for us. Hopefully big momentum. We've been in so many close games over the years. You know, finally pull out one is a big one for us. So.
You're a senior, but let's talk about the job that you got from Isaiah Washington tonight. He struggled shooting the ball, but hit some big free throws down the stretch for you.